Good morning, everyone. This is Peter here, and we have Sharif Hatab, and we're here at the office. We're not doing this from our home like we usually do, so we're trying something different. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the transition from being a dual career agent to becoming a full-time agent, and a little bit of our backstory so you guys can relate to it and see what steps we took if you wanted to get into this full-time. So good morning, Sharif. How you doing today?
Good morning, Peter. How are you?
Good.
This is a little different, right?
Yeah, so much different. So, Sharif, why don't you tell everybody like a little bit about yourself and how you got started into the real estate? And I know you were doing this as a dual career agent. And what was your background before going into real estate?
I mean, I love this topic because it hits us both, right? And we were both dual career in the beginning. And what I did was primarily marketing and IT, right? So my background, I used to have an IT business, and I think a lot of it trickles into what I do today, of course, on the tech side of things. So it helps with the real estate. But I got into real estate, after I purchased my first property. It was in 2006, and it was probably the worst time to buy a house, right? It was at the top of the boom right before the crash of that time. And I didn't understand real estate too much. And I thought of it being an opportunity to help my friends and family in purchasing a property and basically, understanding what the process was so I can actually advise them in a better way.
And how difficult was it? I mean, I know you like a lot of people, I guess, having a hard time managing both sides of the full time, the family time, and still being able to do both jobs at a high level. And how was that for you? Like, what did you find success in trying to manage both careers?
It was difficult. I'm not even gonna lie, Pete. It was before I figured out the whole time blocking, and it really what I would do is just get up early in the morning. I was an early riser, probably up around 4:30, 5 o'clock every day. I would go through my emails. I would go through and send out MLS listings. I would try to take care of my admin work per se, right? In the mornings, and I would go to work. And during, lunchtime, I would be able to take calls. I was in the IT world, so I was always on the computer. So I always had access to my email anyway. And everything's pretty much remote. And then I would leave the appointments for listings and also primarily showing homes. I did a lot of, showing properties at that point. I was really buyer heavy at that point as well. And I left that for after work, right?
Mm.
And I had a very flexible schedule anyway, because I had my own business and my clients understood that I had multiple careers. I used to pride myself on multiple streams of income, and, tell everybody that, if one fails, you always have the other. And that's what ended up happening, right?
Mm.
So I lost all the IT stuff at one point, and basically I relied on the real estate.
Love that.
Yeah.
And why real estate from the start? Like, what made you get into real estate out of all things?
I don't know. I was just interested in it. I can't lie. And I loved looking at homes. I loved homes themselves. It intrigued me. I was just taken by the whole fact that there's a whole industry out there. And what really got me into it is knowing that like the sky's the limit, right?
Right.
There was always a limitation in every one of my careers prior. And just knowing that it can take you to wherever you want to go as long as you put it into work.
Yeah. No, I love that. And what was the pivoting moment that you had to make in your career to see like significant growth from the time that you got into real estate? I know a lot of it you were trying to figure a lot of stuff out on your own, and I'm sure there were a lot of frustration between everything. But how were you able to make that shift to being a successful real estate agent?
I think it was more of a life shift. First of all, it was, I had lost my biggest client in the IT world, so that was actually tied to my wife's job as well.
Mm.
So it wasn't a good situation. We both lost our main income at that point. And I mean, the reason why is because the real estate started getting busy at that point. And as flexible as it was with clients, they still started to see that I was there less and my employees were there more. So it just came down to it at that point where we lost our main income. We lost our, health insurance. We lost everything just real quickly,
Mm.
and I had employees that were relying on me. We kept the company going. right? I still ran the IT company. I still picked up some clients that paid the bills on that side of things, but I focused all my energy on my growing, real estate business. Right off the bat when that happened, I figured I had to shift my business from buyers to sellers, right? It was in the heat of like 2020, 2021 COVID market. Everything was just selling quickly. It was tough being a buyer's agent at that point. I can promise you that. I felt it. And a lot of multiple offers out there. And I was like, I got to switch my business up. So I went out there and I started searching online and I found Challenge. It was a 7 listings in 30-day challenge. And I ended up applying everything I learned from that challenge and winning it.
Wow.
Yeah, not the first time around. I listened to it all. It was funny because I just didn't have time to do it live.
Yeah.
So I would do it after all my appointments for the day. Because at that point, my wife and I are set up shop, right? We both lost our main income. We're at our dining room table, set up shop, and we're just doing real estate. And I would get that back at the end of the day, and she'd sit next to me. She was learning herself. She didn't know anything about real estate. She got licensed and everything right off the bat. And we're sitting there, and at night when I was doing my work, doing, the contracts and showing her, I would have it playing in my ear, the actual challenge, the recordings.
Yeah.
And, I would hear people like Michael Hellickson, people like Nicole Godet, Ben Lang was
Yeah.
a big one on that one too. And it's when I first was introduced to that realm of national presence of real estate agents. And I learned a lot from that. And then I got coaching. So that to answer your question, long-winded answer to your question, Peter, that's the two pivotal times is when I found, I lost all my main income. And then when I found coaching, I found, mentorship and people that were doing it on a higher level than I was. And I think that's when everything changed.
And I think what I hear Sharif here saying too is that he almost had his back against the wall. I think his back was against the wall,
It
actually,
was
right?
backs against the wall.
Yeah.
I was unloading all type of bills that we had, like that excess income. I had a beautiful pickup truck. I had a Dodge Ram, the limit, the one that used to go up and down,
Wow.
with the button. It was great. It was awesome, nice truck. But I started getting rid of everything.
Yeah.
And we cut all expenses. We cut cleaning lady. We cut, the landscaper. We just buckled down. We just had a baby the year prior. So like it's not like, it was like, 1-2 year old like at home. It's like very hard.
Right.
So just got to figure it out.
Mm.
Right. I had a mortgage, I had kids at home. I wasn't gonna give up. It actually fueled me. It
Yeah.
fueled me to say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna double down. I'm not gonna become a jack of all trades anymore. I'm gonna concentrate on this all now. And I found guidance, right? I think that was the real pivot in my career is finding guidance, finding other people that were doing it on a higher level than I was, and just being a sponge and just absorbing everything I could, and implementing. Absorbing is one thing, but implementation. I remember my coach at the time would tell me, "Man, you implement like crazy."
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just every time I had a call, I would just go back and implement everything that I learned and learn the things that I did right and wrong and then develop a process for it. But really, it came down to just finding someone that can actually show me how to do things.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to go back to, because there's so many people that go and sign up for coaching or sign up for challenges or watch YouTube videos or whatever it is,
Mm.
but only a few people that will actually take that information and implement it right away. And I think this is really important because we're surrounded by so much information right
Yeah.
now, and it's hard for us to figure out what can we do. And then I see a lot of people just stuck on just going after video to video to video and not don't do anything with anything that they learn.
Yeah. It's like analysis paralysis,
Yeah.
right? They're just analyzing everything and they're feeding on the information. You got to act on it. We didn't get to where we are by not acting on it. And it's scary along the way because it's not a smooth sailing ride, right? If you look at even just our careers themselves, they're pivotal moments where it goes up and down, but what we want to do is just stay on a positive path upward. But you take dips along the way, and that's great because that's where growth happens, right? it's like you outgrow yourself, outgrow everything around you, then it crashes a little bit because you can't handle what you've built. And then you go back, you analyze it again. That's where taking back from, I would imagine, engineering for you and IT for me is just that analytical mindset. Okay, we have a problem. What are the solutions? Like I tell my agents all the time, don't tell me about problems without solutions, right?
Hmm.
131 is what we want to live by. There's one problem, there's minimally three solutions for that problem. There's one that we favor the most.
I love that.
So that's really how, we go back at it. And from the IT world, I looked at it the same way,
Yeah.
right? I would look at the different type of solutions. So you'll see the previous career, you know, it actually helps me in what I do today,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's with everyone's like that. I mean, I know, agents that were dual career as well. Like I know a very successful one, in our area, Tiffany, shout out to Tiffany Hawley. She was a teacher, and it really comes down into her business too. You can tell she's organized and all the paperwork, how it's done and how she runs her team. It's excellent. And it all trickles from your previous careers.
Yeah. No, that's so key because there is something that you learn from every job that you take on or anything that you do in life. And I feel like if you find the moments that you find, like for example, like you said, IT or engineering, or it could be anything, like even if you were a server, like I tell people, because when I first started, before even going to school, I used to be in the hospitality business.
Hmm.
I was doing, serving tables, I was bartending, and that was a lot of my career, and that has to do a lot with customer service, managing their expectations, making sure they're happy. And then I shift over to engineering, and it's the same thing. Like you said, a lot of it is problem solving.
Yeah.
A lot of people think engineering is like, oh, you should know how to build a bridge or whatever it is, or fix a car. But it's really not. That's not what it is. It's really finding out how to come up with solutions to problems, just like Sharif said. And you can apply that to any business or any type of job that you do, because it teaches you problem solving skills,
Hmm.
communicate with other people properly, find who are the key people that you need to speak with
Yeah.
to be able to get the answers from.
Yeah, and
Right?
it's not always you. You got to get your team. But I mean, going back to it, Peter, how about you? Like your story, I know that like you hustled it. And how did you manage it in the beginning?
Yeah. So, I come from, I'm an immigrant. So I come from where my parents came in while I was 13, and, they both started working right away to be able to put food on the table for us, take us to school. So I saw that growing up, where they were always working multiple jobs. And I started working when I was 14, again, in the hospitality business. And then I just had to pick a career. Like, in our culture, like you got to be like either an engineer or a
Doctor.
doctor.
I went to school pre-med.
Yeah.
So you just follow through.
I just followed through. I'm like, I don't even know what I should do, but
Yeah,
I
engineer, doctor, or
engineer,
lawyer. Yeah.
lawyer.
Choice. That's it. But yeah, I mean, same, background, family of immigrants as well. And that's your work ethic. So how did you transition from like, your 9 to 5, we'll call it,
Yeah,
right, to real estate? Like what brought you to it and
yeah.
how'd you do it?
I landed on the real estate world by accident. It was I had a very long commute, so I just wanted to fill my time with something that I can learn. Started listening to podcasts about, it was a podcast after podcast, and I just stumbled onto Bigger Pockets podcast,
Hmm.
and then from there I got into their meetups that they were doing in the city. Started going there, loved to learn more about real estate investing, and then my wife was always in property management. She did property management 7 years before we even got married. So one day they told her that she has to take her real estate license. And since I was interested in investing side, I figured I would just take the course just for the fun of it. Maybe that will teach me more about investing. And I got it. I'm like, okay, well, let me see what I can do with this now. I got this license. I just started going on social media, like posting, I got my real estate license and posting content. My first deal was my sister. It just came around like the perfect time. And then I had a lot of sphere that ended up working with me. And I started seeing this is something that I actually like to do, because it's not like I didn't like sitting behind a desk all day. So that kept me more active. And then I was like, there was a point where I was like, okay, well, now I see a light at the end of the tunnel here. How do I make this my full time thing? And just like yourself, we had a newborn. My wife was, taking off from work. I was the only income. And I was like, I have to make a certain amount of income in order for me to prove to my family that I can just rely on real estate.
Mhm.
And that was my goal. I just kept on hustling during my commute, like you were doing, pulling up MLS listings, sending it to clients, messages, emails. On my lunch break, I would just take a 5-10 minute lunch on my desk, and I would go outside and make calls for an hour every single day because I knew this is what I had to do. And I was just lining up my appointments after work and on weekends. I would reach out to everybody in my brokerage, find out if there's an open house that I need to do.
Mhm.
And then it just kept on snowballing from there, Sharif. It was just like I worked like 7 days a week for like 5-6 years nonstop. Like I really wanted to get this to work. And I'm like, I just never I was never the person to sit home and watch TV. Like I hated that.
Yeah.
And I would just get really bored. If my mind is not stimulated, I would get really bored. And I found real estate to help me with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, until this day, I don't really watch TV anymore.
Yeah.
I used to be really into sports and watching football, and I gave up on everything because, I mean, I used to come home at one point and, watch our shows, cook a big dinner, and, it was great, but I didn't find myself moving forward.
Yeah. And that's the important thing too. Like I was just like you too. I like to watch soccer a lot, but then there was a point where I was like, this is just really a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like, I don't play video games. I feel like it's a waste of time. I don't watch, minimal TV. If it's anything, it's with my kids
Yeah.
and I'm watching their shows, which is like Fuller House and things of that. I don't know. It's a different world out there.
I mean,
But
they just hijack your TV
yeah,
anyway. So.
yeah, it doesn't matter to me. It's fine. I mean, and, the news I get is pretty much from like, social media at
Yep.
this point, right? Um, so there's no need for it. It's just a distraction
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, I mean, every minute counts, and I knew that from back then. Even though I didn't know time blocking, I knew that every minute counts because there's only so much time. And in order to leverage, you start to figure out you need help.
Yeah.
You need to find help, and that's really how it really, like you said, snowballed into what it is today.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing too, like, and you mentioned earlier, is that we realized, and it's not really easy. And I think me and you struggle with this a lot. And I think every real estate agent struggles with this is the fact that you're going to fail multiple times and you're going to see like that graph where it goes up and then you go down. And there are times where we doubt ourselves, right? Like, is this really it? Like, should we be doing something else? Because there are times that we are, for example, losing money
Mm.
more than making money,
Ugh.
and it happens every now and then. And early on, it's more constant than anything. And especially now we're leading a team. And it's something that a lot of people don't realize. They think you're leading a team, you're making millions of dollars a year. We're the last ones to get paid,
Oh yeah, yeah,
so
definitely.
we have to make sure everybody gets paid, the team members, the staff, and the subscriptions that we're on, all the tools that we're providing.
Yeah.
But there are times where we're not making anything, and it sucks. And these are the times when we doubt ourselves, like, is this really it? So how do you come across, like, or how do you get over these challenges where you feel like you want to quit but you don't?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I call you. I think you need someone there. I think you
Yeah.
need someone there to hear you out. Try to look at it from the outside in, right? Yeah, I mean, I go through it. I just went through this, this year actually, and it was tough. But you gotta figure out the people around you are the ones that are going to help you get through it,
Yes.
right? So, and I love how you said, I mean, like, you're going to fail throughout the process. You're going to fail forward,
Yep.
right? So you're going to fail, but every failure is a learning experience. Like, and if you're learning the same thing over and over again, then that's shame on you because you should be fixing that issue, learning from it, and then systemizing from that point on, right? We have those failures. It's kind of like, that pain you feel at the gym when you're exercising that muscle that you never have.
Yeah.
That pain tells you that, hey, you're growing,
Yes.
right? You're growing. And I think we need that pain in business
For sure.
to grow. So it's really not that big of a deal anymore to fail. You start to enjoy it at a certain point.
Yeah. Same here, man. I mean, I call you multiple times and you told me this too. And it's growing pains, right? It's like when you're growing, and it's just like when you're a kid, right? Like in order for you to grow and get bigger, every child goes through these pains,
Oh my
right?
god, my kids cry about it all the time. I
Yeah.
can't imagine what it feels like, but yeah, it's clinically proven, like,
Yeah.
they feel pain in their bones
Right.
as they're growing, and it's the same
It's
process.
the same
It's the same pain, I would imagine, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same pain, but you start to, like, feed off that pain, right?
Definitely.
That pain's what it shows you that you're actually going through growth.
Yeah, and I love the fact that there's a picture, is like more of like an animation where it shows a person, digging find gold, and that same person, there are two people, one that quits just like 2 inches away from gold, and a person that just keeps going and
Yeah,
then just goes through and then find that gold. And a lot of times this is how we feel, right? Because like if you're thinking about quitting this business, you might be 2 inches away from gold.
2 inches from gold. Yeah,
And this is what it is. Like you can see the light of the tunnel, and you just got to keep going hard at it. Surround yourself with people that have the same mindset. They have the same vision, and maybe they've experienced some of those pains, so they can help you get through it, so you don't have to figure out what to do next,
mhm,
right? And I love that. Obviously, our relationship here like makes it a lot easier for us because we can piggyback on each other and other people too, that went through the same thing. Because when I'm sometimes going through failures or struggles, you might a lot of times you're in a better point of your business that you can help and lift me up, and vice versa too. So
definitely.
yeah, so that's really key. And maybe the last question here that we can, for anybody that's watching, like, what would be a recommendation for somebody that's struggling right now, trying to transition from being a dual career to going full time into real estate, or just struggling in business in general?
I mean, you got to find a coach. You got to find a mentor. You got to find someone that's doing it at a higher level, even someone maybe it's in your market. You got to talk to people. I mean, we do it all the time, right? We're reaching out to people that we never thought we would talk to in the past,
Yep.
right? Just to get some insight about how they did it. That's what I would do. I would really reach out. I would really get into a group, even get into our group, right? We got a great group on Facebook that, people share ideas, and, we're always posting different topics to get people's minds going. But that's it. You need to find that network. You got to find, build your business off the people around you.
Yeah.
So if you're not succeeding in the crowd that you're in right now, most likely you got to change crowds, change rooms, get into the right room, and you'll learn more at a quicker pace.
Yeah.
And it'll get you, to where you want to be.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people there that I think they have an abundant mindset, especially in your market. But there are people that have that scarcity mindset where they feel like if they share information with you, that you're going to take it and they're going to lose out. But in reality, there's enough business for everybody, and there's no such thing as, if I give it away, I'm going to lose out. And I think this is something that we both learned very early on. But the people are out there that have that scarcity mindset are not going to be in business for a very long time. Another thing I would just add to what Sharif said is just, again, implement like crazy. And just like you heard him in the beginning of the podcast, he took whatever he learned and implemented it. And I feel like this is what most people don't do.
Mhm.
They have everything that they need, either YouTube videos or even this podcast, right? And it's just like they're, keep listening to stuff every single day, but it's just more of an entertainment now. It's not really educational for them. And you need to start taking action in order for you to win.
Definitely.
Awesome. Anything
Perfect.
else, Sharif, you want to end
I
with?
think I think that's it for today.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to us. If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Visit our Facebook group, and we'll look forward to having you on the next one.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care. Bye.